Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
Hello everyone. Welcome.
Welcome to another fun episode.
Yes, and a continuation from last week's dun dun dun. I know I left y'all hanging. But essentially, today we're going to talk about creation, the topic and understanding of just creating, right?
This is creating in general. It could be creating a podcast, it could be creating content, it could be creating art, it could be anything.
Yeah, just the concept of creating, which I think is something a lot of people are trying to figure out. Have you noticed, like, how do you create Instagram videos that go viral? How do you things like that, right? Where do you
how do you recreate something? There's been so many things that are like people are trying to reverse engineer to recreate something. The only reason I bring that up is because I've got a family member who's trying to recreate like grandma's recipe of, I don't even remember what it was, stuffing balls. And they're trying to figure out how to reverse engineer it when we can't find grandma's recipe. It's really funny.
Okay, yeah, well,
sorry, tangent.
it's adorable. That's cute. So okay, grandma's stuffing balls. So I was explaining last week this idea of an initiative. So one thing I love doing, and actually more of my essence than anything, is the ability to create things, like building this podcast with Katie, like creating that initiative for the Filipino American community about 2 years ago, things like that, right? Where we're really building like a solid piece of value. That's where I'm coming from. But
Yes.
a lot of people, yeah.
Things I mentioned might be a little bit less, but no, that's not true, because everything has enormous value when it's created.
Exactly. Anything that you can contribute has value.
Yes.
Everything that you say, Katie, is relatable to somebody who's going to listen to this. Everything that you do can connect to somebody. So the idea of being able to create something, I had this funny middle school teacher who kind of smacked me in the face with this. She was like, if you're going to create something, you can't just vent.
But it's so much fun just to vent.
It is, but there's something you can create from the venting. So like she explained, like, you can do that, but there has to be like a purpose. What are you giving to your audiences? What are you having them take away? Right? What do you have? Yeah, right. Like, what are you doing that's going to help them or provide some new knowledge or provide something that's going to inspire them to move in a different way or revitalize their life to keep moving forward, right? She didn't say that part, but she said that's more me, but it was more like she was very stern about that. You can't just.
She planted the seed for you to come up with the rest of that. I got it.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, she was very, very honest person. Oh, thank you. Lobbin, you were great. But essentially, in the idea of being able to create something, sometimes you can do the creating of what everyone's been doing recently, like taking something and then thinking it's their own and just putting it in a different order. That is creation. That is creation. Right. But pure creation, like very, very pure creation, that has essentially been developed over accumulating all these different types of inspiration over the years. I think you mentioned they reverse engineered the recipe.
Right.
Reverse engineering is one way to create. Another is you're really studying every aspect of your resources so that you know how to put those resources together to create something bigger and better.
That would be like my brain is going to, that would be studying multiple different types of drawing styles. So then that way you can create your own version of
Yes.
drawing art.
Yes.
I know there's a technical term for it, but my brain just went on me. So.
But that's translatable. That's very
right.
So for instance, I didn't know I was doing this. I kind of was just like guided to do it. Like I've learned many different forms of media, like to the molecular level, very molecular level, right? I used to do radio. Da, da, da. Here I can talk like myself. I learned audio editing. I learned video editing. Katie has seen me video edit like,
Yep.
yeah, pretty quickly. I learned how to communicate. I learned how all the different types of ways of communicating, essentially to create what I want to create. And what I want to create isn't for venting purposes. Miss Nalabin. Thank you. I hope she loves me. I'm not throwing shade. I really do appreciate her. But seriously, it was predominantly because there's something you can create with what we're doing. I was actually creating our pitch deck. Katie saw this. And I was like, wow, there's more thinking in this than I ever thought. And the biggest driver for creation is a purpose. If you have a very distinct, clear purpose, you will create something.
And it's more than just the 3,000, 30,000 foot level of your purpose. You know, yes, the purpose of the Teen Suicide Prevention Society is to bring an end. Well, you know what? Let's put ourselves out of business. Bring an end to teen suicide and put our nonprofit out of business.
That would be freaking great. So that
would be flipping awesome.
Yeah, that is a good purpose. That would
be a good purpose. You know, that overlying view of, you know, wanting to end suicide around the world. You know, what's something more tangible? More tangible is to have at least one person certified in the Talk That Saves Lives in every school in the US.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. And, you know, the Teen Suicide Prevention Society, like that could just be renamed later.
No, we'll just call it teaspoons.
Yeah, we can call it teaspoon.
A teaspoon of kindness will change the world. You know, just teaspoon of love.
Well, yeah, and that's actually the thing. I remember when I was trying to find my purpose, right? This took a lot of personal development, a lot of conversations, a lot of chanting, a lot of many things, just to really understand what my purpose is, because I was learning all these things, not knowing why. I just liked doing it. I was refining my skills. I was enjoying growing. I was enjoying refining and growing and building skills. I love that. Sometimes that hits a plateau. Now, what do you do with it? Right. Otherwise you get really depressed. So I ended up going to John Tallarico. I'm saying his name again. He's great. He basically, in his thinking into results class, really helps you refine your goals. And there's many other things that it does, but it really refined my goal for me. And it's what we call the C-type goal from the Procter and Gallagher Institution.
Okay.
Yeah, the C-type goal is an elevated type of goal. There are 3 different types of goals that you could possibly have. There's the A-type, where you've done it before. You could do it in your sleep. You could do it while walking into walls. Please don't do that. Things like that. 2.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
No, they had it for Windows. Okay, the B-type goal. It's going to be a forever thing for us.
That is going to be a forever thing for us.
The B-type goal is the type of goal that you have achieved before. It takes a little bit more work to do it, and you know how to do it. It's like, I want to get a Toyota. You've had a Toyota before. Yeah, but it takes time and effort to do it, but you've done it before.
Right.
The C-type goal is the goal you've never done before.
Oh, okay.
And it's the goal that essentially will make you grow no matter what you do. Like, even if you're aiming towards fulfilling that goal, you will grow every single day.
Because it forces you to.
It forces you to. It's the end all be all.
Gotcha.
So mine was, at first, it was decrease global suicide rates globally every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you do that? A lot of people say don't worry about the how. Okay, in this instance, you got to take steps, like actionable steps towards that
Right.
goal. And the person that mentioned John and I were talking about it, he's like, all right, what happens when you say don't think of an elephant?
You think of an elephant?
That. This is kind of a similar vein. So instead of decrease global suicide rates, although that is the aim and that is going to definitely happen, you also have to think about the positive action that's going to bring that
That's going to tip the scale. It's going to lower the suicide rates because you're raising the positivity level.
Something like that. Yes. You're raising the empowerment level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you raise empowerment in people, empowering, in my opinion, you're not like boosting people's ego. You're actually accepting, acknowledging, and embracing someone's humanity and understanding the beautiful side of that. That is empowering. Now let's talk about what usually causes suicide, and it's different forms and manifestations of disempowerment. Saying no to a student for not letting them go to the bathroom when they really need to go. Things like tiny small things, or self-esteem issues because of problems in middle school. What do you call it? Social media and the comparison, like all of these different ways to disempower somebody that will cause, after a big accumulation.
Yeah, it's the compounding of that over and over and over again that leads someone down the path of hopelessness.
Exactly. So what do? We empower people instead. And that's what this podcast was about. The idea of making that we can create some way to give to communities that can empower them to keep going, as well as serve as like a value pack. So this is something that I love doing, is like, I love creating value behind something that brings more to this world. But if you look at everything underneath it, it's bringing even more. So I have a large network of decision makers in politics, entertainment, etc. I can't exploit them, because that wouldn't do anyone a service.
Right.
But what I can do is I can give them a platform like this podcast to speak to audiences, and I can also interview them in a way that they can trust me on that interview. Right. That builds relationships and creates value for not just myself, but also the person that has something to say, in a way that they can touch and empower lives aligned with us.
That was said so beautifully. And I just thought that we were starting with, someone who's been touched by something and instead of being a victim chose to be empowered by it. But that sounded so much better.
Oh, thank you. So that's how I see it.
And then you have my simple sentence on how Katie sees it. I'm very simple right now.
That's perfectly fine.
You make it sound so elegant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was all the studying for the past 10 years of like the way, because I love actually listening to the way that people talk. So I love motivational speeches. I love listening to TED Talks. I actually have a book of like the most powerful speeches in American history, and I read it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was like $5 at Barnes and Noble. You can find them anywhere. But
that doesn't matter. The fact is that you found something that inspires you, which then lights that spark for you to be able to create.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And that is funny because like a lot of people think of the how, right? When you're creating. Sometimes that'll trip you up. You don't have to think of the how when you're creating. It'll come to you.
Yeah. You don't suffer from mad how disease. Been there, done that.
Mad how disease. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard that in a while. I love that. But it's true. It's like sometimes you're so stuck in so for instance, while I've been creating that deck for us, that pitch deck, I know that I can't rabbit hole my way through it. It's not gonna work.
Right.
Nobody can. So the thing that you can do is you actually have to go and fill your inspiration cup. Do you know how that works?
That's we talked about that. I don't remember how long ago, but we mentioned something about you can't serve others from your cup. You have to serve them from your saucer. Because
Exactly.
you have to fill yourself up with the inspiration and the hope and the love and the optimism and everything else in the that feeds our souls.
Yeah.
And when that's filled, it's a lot easier to create. You can't create if it's like you can't create if you're hungry because you can't think.
Exactly. You really can. And it was so interesting because like I think the past like month, we've been creating. We've been doing a good job of creating.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of creating.
There was a point where I was like, I can't actually, because I didn't have enough in my cup to even pour anything out. And yesterday I actually felt that I was full. You know how I found out I was full? Because I go off of more like I actually understand that we subconsciously will do things once we have the right ideas, right? So I actually pay attention to more of my tendencies and actions more than like, this is telling me to do this, because sometimes that doesn't work.
Right.
I started coloring.
Oh.
Right? Like when you want to express yourself, that's when you know your cup is full. For me, I need to color. Or like the moment I feel the need to color, that means I have what I need. And now I can keep going. If I don't feel like I want to sit down and color at night, that actually means like, oh, wow, there's a need that needs to be met. What is it? Where is it?
No, but that's interesting because one of the things that I found that I enjoy doing, which I don't remember ever having a passion for this when I was younger, but I found that I actually like to build things with like not Legos, they're mini blocks.
Okay.
They're like half the size of a regular Lego block. They are like teeny, you like need tweezers. They're like teeny tiny little pieces. And I started building this like a bonsai tree. And when I have the patience to sit there and actually do it, then it brings a sense of calm and relaxation, and I feel rejuvenated. It's actually one of the things that I do to help fill my cup, I realized, because if I go to sit down and I go to put that first piece on and that piece is not going on like it's supposed to, I have to walk away because it means that there's something else going on that needs to be taken care of first before I can come back and play with my Legos or whatever brand they're called. I don't know.
That's how I felt today with my laundry.
Laundry just has to be done in my house. I don't have an option. It's either do the laundry or it's sleep on top of the laundry.
The apartment life in Los Angeles is real, especially when you don't have an in-unit washer dryer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. I did that when Austin was born. When he was a few months old, the apartment that we had was did not have a washer and dryer in it, so I would cart the laundry down 4 flights of stairs to the car to the laundromat.
Oh.
And then back home.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that's a lot farther than mine's in maybe 2 floors down. It's not in unit, but it's in building. Like
there was one in building, but I didn't trust it because I had stuff disappear from the washer and dryer.
Okay, I also have a very safe building complex. I appreciate my safe laundry mode. But yeah, like we were saying, I couldn't finish parts of the deck until I took out a load of laundry. Something kept saying, no, finish, get it out of the dryer.
It's amazing how we go to create, whether in my case creating with Legos, there's something that comes up and gets in our way because we know something needs to be done, taken care of, resolved, whether it be something for work or whether it be self-care.
Yeah, they're definitely for work. Like, I think sometimes when you have to have a conversation that could be so uncomfortable to have, right? You can't get anything done. Nothing gets done. You're just like, I know that one.
But one of the things that I have found with that, just to wrap up real quick, is that letting go of the expectation of the results.
Yes.
Because there's somebody I've been trying to have a conversation with for weeks, and they have been ignoring me. They've been, yeah, we can talk, and then they don't talk to me. And I realized it was eating away at me because I kept thinking that they promised but that they would talk, but they're not talking to me. So what else is going on? When I realized this person is just being who they are, they're never going to change.
Yeah, allowing yourself to just accept in those instances.
Yeah.
Sometimes even that can stop you from creating, just not accepting what's happening, the radical acceptance of what's happening. Like, it's tough, but
rewarding.
But rewarding. The moment that you can accept something and then move forward and also allow yourself to be pleasantly surprised by the outcome, that part's actually kind of cool. Like, I remember yesterday, I thought I was going to have this conversation that was going to go in this really weird, tangled way because I didn't know what the result was going to be.
Right.
And then we talked and we discussed this homelessness initiative.
Cool.
Right?
I remember you talking about that before. Yes.
Yes, we're going full circle and wrapping up that way. Yes. So there is a homelessness initiative that I've been working on for the past 2 or 3 years. It's been like in a bank. The thing that I don't want to run the initiative, but I do want to partner with somebody who does. And I came up with the idea. Plus, I've tested it. It works. And I've been speaking with my cousin who is a politician in Pennsylvania area. And we're looking at grants now. So pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. And on that note, maybe all find pleasant surprises this upcoming week.
Yes. Yes.
Then we can take and use that pleasant surprise as the energy to create what we want.
Yeah. That's impressive. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.